Alright, so I am going to be trying to organize my documentation that I've been working on so far. While I was working on the prototype, I kept trying to think about what the next step was, the game, and so I've been taking notes and just kind of writing down all the thoughts I had, at least the ones I thought were good enough to write down. And now I kind of want to go through and clean up that document. There's just a lot of links in there and just a lot of random thoughts that don't make sense or I've kind of moved beyond at this point. I want to clear that up and try to get it into a more concrete expression of the design principles I want to use and the gameplay loop. That way I can start to develop a concrete vision or core pillars that the game would be built upon. By doing this, when I do decide to start building the game, I'll have those concrete principles to look at as my guiding light. I just watched a YouTube video by the dude who did Fallout, and he talked about design pillars and gameplay loops. It was like the perfect thing for what I was thinking about at that time, and he really kind of helped clarify what those things are and how they work and why they're good. I thought it was a really good video. If I can find it, I'll link it below. So I've been using Notion to just kind of capture stuff as I look stuff up for figuring out different programming prompts in the game, or I see stuff on YouTube or tutorials and stuff. I've just been dropping them into the various different tutorials. And so here's the Google Docs on quaternions. Here's essential math for game developers, physics, programming, code patterns, rotating a vector, a bunch of Freya Homer videos on vectors and rotation and math stuff. So if I see stuff, I just kind of drop it into this Notion board, and that's been really good in helping me stay focused when I'm trying to solve a problem and not fall down rabbit holes. I kind of just store the rabbit hole for later. Same thing, like places to get free sounds. I'm starting to build up a collection of places because I want to build the game on no budget, or as little of a budget as I can. And that means that I have to be creative in the way that I source stuff, because if I want it to be a commercial product, all the free stuff I get, I also need to get a license for, so I can put it in the game. So I can say, hey, this is free to use, and here's them saying it was free to use. So I should probably start another one of these for licenses when I find this stuff. But finding those free products and finding those things that I can use and then change, it's important that I can change them, is going to be a huge time saver. If I have to try to make my own music from scratch with a digital whatever, that's going to be a lot of time and energy. And it's not that I don't want to learn how to do that, and I don't want to try to do that for some things, but being able to take a completed song and just cut it into my own remix and then using that is way faster. But anyways, back to this. So here's my original kind of brain vomit of ideas and things that I'm feeling about for the game, just kind of dumping them in here. And here I made a fork. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and take the fork and this one, and I'll kind of use them to clean it up, and then at the end I'll delete the fork and I'll have a good, solid, hopefully nice, pretty, well-organized document that I can actually utilize moving forward. So I'll start off with visual cues. So visual cues, when I was first started, the very first thing, I think this is still very relevant, is dappled light, God rays, morning sunrise feel. I was really hoping I would just click the button and it would slide right back and in, but whatever. So visual cues, this style of maze was something else I had seen that really kind of grabbed my attention, just aesthetically. And then as for color palettes, Tetris. I'd forgotten about this. Using Tetris palette colors to invoke nostalgia and the idea of like an 8-bit game. I was still thinking about potentially Marble Maze Pixel. If I had gone Pixel, this is where I probably would pull my color palette from. little creatures, things that pick up and move stuff, cute little things like that, having them be maybe not part of the game, but filling out the world of the game. Loops. Yeah, miniature golf. Low poly, soft. Even this stuff is a little sharp on the edges. I'd probably round it out more. Same thing with those trees, these long thin things. Everything's too square, too geometrical. I think I definitely want a more rounded look. I don't know. And then Tunic is also that same kind of low poly, light. So dappled light and a so nice feel. And the other thing that these mazes do is they are pack space. So what I want to do is I want to write all these things down, the thing that I like about them, and I want to get rid of them so that I only have the written reference to what they are. That way when I'm trying to think of visual cues and my own visual things, I'll hopefully fill this with my own drawings and my own work, and then use that to generate the assets and stuff, assuming I don't find packs or other artists to work with. Next we have saturated colors. This, I actually don't think I want to use saturated. I will just say, because I don't think I like the saturation, but I think if I soften some of these colors, they could still be very interesting. Alright, visual cues. So dappled light, God rays, morning sunrise feel, poly, maze, patterns. Next up, design cues. Alright, so Maze Game is a marble puzzle game where you solve puzzles to make satisfying animations. This I no longer think is the key that it once was. And I worked on this yesterday. It's actually why I'm trying to do this. Is because I worked on this yesterday. And I came up with this. That the main cue, the main thing that I'm trying to do is that the marble maze puzzle is to get a marble to a goal through a series of obstacles with a multitude of goals hidden behind harder and harder obstacles. The obvious goal alpha, will always be obvious and achievable with no items. There will be a fast option that will need an item or skill or both. I think I can clean that up. So I think in designing levels, this is going to be paramount. So each level is a self-contained puzzle that has 2 paths to the goal. So one is a slow path that will take time and low skill to accomplish. The other is a fast track that takes more skill but less time. I think that's the primary ethos behind every level design, is that there's 2 paths. One is slow, one is fast, but the fast one takes more skill or items or something. Like there's an added thing that makes it more complicated. Ooh, yeah. It's more complicated. I think that's good for levels. Alright, each level will have hidden items to unlock. Each level will have hidden items to unlock. I think large amount of collectibles is good. Hidden items to unlock, I don't know about that. Yeah, I guess I would have to think about the reward structure. Is it that you're Yeah, so I already know what the reward structure is, so I can put that in. So each level have multiple pickups. Okay, each level have multiple pickups. So each item can have multiple pickups, and so the reward structure, I don't think I've written that down. Let me just throw that in here right now. So I think I wrote this down somewhere else. But I had this idea to have each pickup adds to your weight and mass and damp. So it slows you down, making you literally slower rolling around, or increasing your velocity because you have more mass, and changing the way that your ability to actually play changes. So there's a risk of, ooh, do I get this MacGuffin? Do I get these points? Do I get these tickets? But then, how fast can I get down to the bottom? What I don't know is if I wanted to be, or thing is, if you're in a capsule, you're dropping a capsule down, and only a capsule, what are these things that you're picking up, and why does it make sense that when you get to the bottom, suddenly you get more? Like, you only ever get one thing in those. You get the thing that comes out. It makes me think, is this too much? So I think this is money. I think this is a really good, I'm just gonna start this guy. I think this is also really good. This is just like, yes, each pickup adds weight. This is how you have a risk and reward to pick a thing up, especially if there's a timer. The weight slows you down and you're trying to get the fastest time. Now, like, oh, do I pick up the jump, which lets me do this thing, which saves me time and adds a little bit of weight and changes the way I roll? I think there's that kind of decision-making process could be good. And also, oh, if you accidentally pick up something you don't want, could also be interesting. I think that might be something. So if when you pick up power-ups, you get the bonus of the power-up, jumping, dash, a boost of speed, but it also adds to your weight. So you pick up the power-up and boop, you get like 0.01. No problem, power up, but as you go through levels, getting more and more, that weight's going to slowly increase. So you kind of got to weigh out the early power pickup against the late game weight gain. See what I did there? I didn't mess up those words. And then if you pick up a trophy, it just falls behind you like a snake, and then in order to get out of the machine with your trophies, you got to keep your trophies with you, which means not getting them caught or lost on obstacles. So if there's a tether system where if it gets too far away or it doesn't follow a track, it gets caught on things, you could also have it be, hey, you want to get to the next level? Just run right through this gate that stops you from bringing any trophies with. So if you want to go fast, you can, but get nothing for it. Having those kind of decision-making processes in the game could be really fun. They set up the puzzles being tied directly to the rewards that you get and the decisions that you make in the game. If you just want to go fast, you can go fast. But if you really want to get all the stuff out, you got to go through a puzzle or go through something. And the whole time, you can do it because each level is a self-contained puzzle that has two paths. And those are your two paths. That's how one can be faster, one can be slower. And by building the fast path as an easy puzzle, or the fast path as a decision to lose reward for speed, and the slow path being a puzzle, even if it's a simple puzzle, it's still going to slow you down. So now the puzzle doesn't really need to be complicated. It can be as simple as a switch puzzle. Go here, turn this switch on, lower this gate, go over this gate. But you keep your power-ups, which might slow you down on this level, but in the next level might help speed you up. Ooh. So this I don't really know so much about. Growing sequence, new past creatures and flora and fauna. That one I don't know so much about. I think that's too much. Animated growth sequence, flora and fauna, all that stuff. I have multiple optional pickups. This can be puzzles in itself. Sword, each pickup has weight. Yeah. And the backrest upgrades are important. So this, I think I've already taken care of with the limited space. It was fun that it doesn't constantly teaches you. I think these things are also very important. So one, it should constantly be teaching you. So each level, each puzzle should give you some kind of information about why it's not working, about what's actually going on in the game. Constantly teach you each stage, each level should be teaching you some new mechanics, some new way to get through the game. So you learn that, you play it, it's challenging, and then there should be a surprise. And I think the surprise is where we get into animation, where so if each level ends in an animatic, then like the ball spins as it transitions into the next stage, and at the end of the stage, there's like a larger animation of like something happening in the level. Biomechanics, visible influence of player, modular mechanical encounters, export gift to have built-in camera to export gifts, discovery needs space-time rest. Time mode. It to be based on the core theme, Marvel Maze Puzzle Discovery. It should be kind of a time mode. I don't know. No questions. Need to be statements. A time mode. Each level ends in an animation. Each stage ends in the same animation. Each level will have multiple options, optional pickups. This can be the puzzle itself, or risk. Each pickup gets yeah. Trophies become fire. 2 types of pickups. I think this is all good. And I can go somewhere else. So it teaches you when you play Child Surprise. It's fun to navigate. It doesn't. So each level should be a self-contained puzzle that has 2 paths to the goal. One's a slow path that will take time, teaches you, learn the Child Surprise. I don't think I can make this any bigger, but I can make it a... Right, that's super important, because if it's not fun to navigate, if the puzzles aren't fun to solve, like the act of solving them isn't fun, then what's the fucking point? So making sure that even though you have this choice of do I go through a short path or a fast path, a puzzle path or whatever, each of those things in and of themselves can't be so frustrating and so tedious that they're like a chore. They need to engage actively through mechanics, through feedback, through rewards to keep the player interested in going for that kind of option. I think there shouldn't be like very tight, narrow, one-shot style things. Like if you think about Mario Maker, you shouldn't be troll levels or Kaizo levels per se, unless it's actively telegraphed that, oh no, these are the harder levels where you're expecting that kind of challenge. I think that's good for this section. Okay, and here's some of the more the core style principles that I was thinking of about what the game actually is. So discovery, narrative through items, exploration, particles, light, sound, attention to detail, spectacle, exploration. Exploration for spectacle is discovery. A puzzle plus narrative through items equals exploration. Particles plus light plus sounds and attention to detail equals spectacle. Exploration plus spectacle equals discovery. I don't know if that's entirely true. Puzzle plus narrative through items equals exploration. That isn't, I don't think it's true. I think puzzles, the thing is, I don't think there needs to be that kind of, I think puzzles plus narrative through items. No, you think about Zelda, like exploration and discovery are a big part of those games, and you do that by wanting to travel out and see things and find stuff, find unknown. And what I've been talking so far mechanically, this is at odds with clock time mode, with two paths. I don't think discovering this is the wrong terms for this. And I think puzzles plus narrative through items. Yeah, it's not exploration. Puzzles plus narrative through items. Right? Puzzles get you items that have narrative on them. Particles plus lights plus sounds and attention to detail equals spectacle. World building plus spectacle. World building plus spectacle gets you right. Equals focus. Because that's what both those things do. They build on each other. So the puzzles engage the player, think about what they have to do. So there's a mental engagement. The way the game's built is a physical engagement with controls. So you're engaging in that way. You want to do the puzzles because they'll either get you a faster time in some way, or they'll get you items that will get you a faster time potentially. Or they'll get you little rewards, other rewards. Those rewards will have narrative descriptions of the world that can help flesh things out. So if the story was kid plays gachapon machine to try to get all the same toys that older sibling had when they went away to college, as you get those toys, the narrative description might be about older brother and what happened when they got that toy, which is actually not a bad idea. But that way you could flesh out the story, where if you want to know the story of what happened, here it is on an item. It doesn't have to be told through like cutscenes or anything like that. And it's just something that I can add, so that if you pay attention to these items as you get them, they can also be can also be a narrative literally built into that, because it would be a linear structure. And also something could also be used to flesh out the world with which these things live in, to make it more real, which would hopefully help retain engagement from the players and be an avenue to communicate with them concepts and ideas, themes like discovery, or and so things like, what is the mechanic is, I think, pretty good. The theme of, like, what is that story though? Like, it's not like a hero's journey. It's, what is the underlying concept behind this? You know, what is a story about a kid who's trying to collect all these trophies as some way to celebrate? Like, I don't know. You know, Pokemon is a collection game, and its story is, gotta collect them all. Right? I'm gonna be the very best. Gotta collect them all. Those two, they intrinsically tied those two concepts together in the world of Pokemon. In Pokemon, if you want to be the best, you gotta catch them all. You gotta beat the Elite Four. You gotta play. You gotta do all the things in the game, because that's how you do the things that the game wants. Here, I don't have that. I need to either tie something I don't have to think about it. I also know that I don't want it to be like doing this as like in memorandum for a lost person or something like that. So I think focus is a good word. I think that better describes what this is trying to do. Physics based, still, yep. You control the board and the ball just rolls. Player controls the base. Moves a marble to a goal. Yes, level elements will unlock a pass. An old level pass. Unlock cards. This, it depends on how. I think this is a good thought, and I think it builds another layer of depth and complexity, but that means more time. I think that's going to be really dependent on how quickly I can actually execute the base idea and polish out a demo. Because once I can get a demo fully cooked, then I'll have a better understanding of what I'm looking at to do X amount of whatever. I don't think bosses, I think it's the clock. There's no boss. I think that's their bosses are level. No, because there's no bosses. So you physically move foreground out of the way. I still like this one. I think that's a unique way to do transitions, instead of just having them like disappear or fade to black, but the assets literally just slide out of the way. Light, light, light. Spectacle through sound and effects. Yeah, I think all of this stuff is still... Yeah, I don't know about that. This stuff... Here's my ideas for level 1 so far. Inside capsule scene, tutorialize player, controls. I think I'm still working on that, so not much to do there. Narrative. These are the narratives I've thought of so far. These are going to take some work. I'm starting to run out of steam for this stuff, and I'll definitely come back to it and keep working on it throughout the week, trying to clarify what these are, streamline them, really dig into what are the ideas and thoughts that I had, the nugget of goodness that's inside these ideas I had, and really critically examine what I wrote down and try to better articulate and encapsulate what I'm trying to do. So when I come back just again in another 3 months and look at it, once again, life will have changed, I'll have changed, but having these things well articulated and well crafted for myself in the future lets me stay focused and stay on track to making sure that I stay within scope of something I can finish in a reasonable amount of time. Because I always remember the goal is put a game on Steam, have it not cost me any money, so I recoup whatever cost I put into it, have it be a fully complete and finished game, and try to do it in a year. I'll say a year. I think a year is what I'm thinking of as far as the scope that I'm trying to keep for the game that I'm making. Obviously, I don't know. I don't know how to accurately budget out my time for what I'm doing, because I don't know what it's going to take me to do. I thought the prototype might take me a year. It took me 3 months, so that went a little bit faster than I thought. This is who knows what's going to happen with this. So yeah, so that's about where I'm at. I'm going to keep working through this throughout the week. I'll keep on diving into all of this stuff. I'm going to try to tighten up that level 1. I might move that to a later kind of like level base, especially I need to figure out kind of the narrative structure that I want to use, because then that will help me kind of figure out levels. And I'm kind of thinking each stage I can do a different theme and just kind of have it be, kind of whimsical and nonsensical in the fact that you're a rolling rolling capsule with a toy inside of it, picking up other toys to escape or get out. So yeah, so that's about where I'm at. I'm going to keep working through this throughout the week. I'll keep on diving into all of this stuff. I'm going to try to tighten up that level 1. I might move that to a later kind of like level base, especially I need to figure out kind of the narrative structure that I want to use, because then that will help me kind of figure out levels. And I'm kind of thinking each stage I can do a different theme and just kind of have it be, kind of whimsical and nonsensical in the fact that rolling rolling capsule with a toy inside of it, picking up other toys to escape or get out or do something. So you can kind of go through and kind of like, oh god, what is it? Yeah, these books. These cross-section books. So I'm kind of thinking the levels being like 1 level, 2nd level, 3rd level, 4th level, final level, end of stage, and that's 1 stage. And so, inside of a ship could be 1 stage, and then you drop down to the next stage, and there could be an exit where you could get all your MacGuffins and stuff out at the bottom of those levels, or you could risk it and take all your stuff with you to the next one. And that's kind of roguelike-ish, and that's why I'm trying to be attentive with the decisions I make so that I don't add too many things. It's starting to get to the point where, like, okay, that's adding more complexity. Maybe I should scale that back and keep it simpler, especially if I'm going to be doing multiple levels. Maybe it should just be puzzles, less pickups, less power-ups, and things like that. With the scale and scope of those things, I'll have to, I'm going to have to do more prototypes, start building the actual game to figure out what exactly will make the final cut. But for now, developing these ideas, getting them so that they, getting them out now so I can think about them and, come back in 3 or 4 months and look at them with a fresh perspective really helps. When working independently without a lot of external input and criticism and critique to bounce ideas off of, this is kind of a good way to get a fresh perspective on the ideas you had and really challenge them and see whether they hold up after some time has passed. And some of them do, some of them don't, and some of them are good and some are bad, and we'll see. I'll keep working and refining things and start to get feedback from other people about stuff, so that is where I'm at now.